Hey, what's up you guys? My name's Tyler Rugge. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today we are finally doing another Meet My Pets video. It's almost been a year and a half since I've done one of these, so I just wanted to kind of do another one and give you guys a rundown of all of the pets that I have currently. I haven't really gotten a ton more animals since the last Meet My Pets video, or at least not a ton of significant ones. I've gotten a lot of things that probably most people wouldn't consider pets. We'll get into that, but I just wanted to give you guys an update since I don't have all of the same animals as I did a year and a half ago. I want to put a disclaimer in here that in no way am I trying to encourage anyone to obtain a large amount of animals like I have. I work from home full time and I am super passionate about keeping these animals. It's like my full-time job and hobby. I do my best to give them all the best lives they can possibly have, and because I work from home and my life is pretty much dedicated to these animals, I have enough time to take care of all of them, whereas your average person probably wouldn't. But if any animals I have spark interest in you and you are interested in owning them, I do highly encourage you to do a ton of research, obviously, before getting any of these animals. I don't want to encourage anyone to get a bunch of animals like I have, basically, because it's not for everyone, but they're my entire life, so I love sharing my love for my animals with you guys here on my channel. If you guys are new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and also turn on notifications so that you can get notified every time I upload. So anyways, let's get straight into meeting all of my pets. And we're gonna start off with my dog. So this is my dog. Her name is Nova, and she is a dog that I rescued almost exactly 2 years ago. I'm not really sure how old she is. I think she's around 7 years old, but she was found on the streets in Ohio and she had heartworm and she was pregnant, but she's doing a lot better now. She's really healthy and happy. I usually just say that she's a box-ski because she's mostly just boxer and husky. And she's really unique because her eyes are two different colors. One is blue, and if you look closely, the other one is actually half blue and half brown. And I just love her. She's like the cutest dog ever. She's so sweet. She's so strange looking. So this is Nova, my rescue doggo, and I love her so much. Isn't that right, Nova? She's a good girl. So yeah, I just have one dog. That's Nova. And then I have a couple of my pets in my bedroom, and literally just two of them right now. Back here in this big tank behind me, I have my hamster, which is actually the latest animal that I got. And my hamster's name is Mochi, and she's a dwarf hamster. Mochi was actually rehomed to me from someone on Craigslist, and I set up this really awesome enclosure for her, and she's just really happy now. She's less than a year old. I think she's around 8 months old at this point. Not really sure the exact age though. Right next to Mochi's tank, we have a 5-gallon fluval spec fish tank. And this is a planted tank that I actually used to have my betta fish in, but unfortunately my betta fish passed away literally just like a week ago. So I thought I would mention him anyways because he was a really beautiful betta fish that I actually imported from Indonesia. And I have a video of me unboxing him and stuff like that. That was about a year and a half ago, I believe, when I got him. And when I got him, I wasn't really sure how old he was because he was already full grown. And again, he was kept in a 5-gallon planted tank, and right now that tank is empty, but I still am keeping it running because I'm considering maybe putting something else in there. Not really sure at the moment, but I thought I would just keep it running just in case. Next to my betta fish tank, which is kind of out of frame in the corner over there, you can't really see it, I have my blue crayfish. So my blue crayfish is just housed alone, and I've had my crayfish for about 2 years now. And then to stay on topic with the fish tanks, I do have 2 more fish tanks. One is in my living room, and the other one, currently, I moved to the basement. So the one in my living room is a 60-gallon planted tank, and this is just a community tank. There aren't a ton of fish in there. I have a pearl gourami, I have some tetras, and I also have a rope fish, and my rope fish's name is Amelia. Amelia is like my favorite in that tank, just saying. But I'm actually in the middle of renovating it. I actually just posted a video where I unboxed a 75-gallon aquarium that was custom made for me by Custom Aquariums. So I'm gonna be kind of replacing my 60-gallon planted tank with this brand new aquarium. So I'm really excited for that. And I'm gonna be posting more videos about that really soon. And then my other fish tank is a 32-gallon reef tank. It's a BioCube. I don't have a lot of fish in there. My favorites in there are my sea slug, whose name is Kale because it kind of just looks like a piece of lettuce. It's actually a lettuce sea slug. So yeah, that one's name is Kale. And then I have a long-nosed hawkfish whose name is Calvin. And I also have a maroon clownfish, and I actually only have one coral in there currently because I haven't been doing a ton with my reef tank. And then also in my living room, I have a turtle. So the turtle is kept in a tank that I believe is about 125 to 130 gallons. I'm not sure the exact size, but it's a big tank, which is actually just the perfect size for this turtle. A lot of people keep their turtles in way too small of tanks. They need about 120 gallons. This is a yellow-bellied slider, I should probably mention. So it is an aquatic turtle, and her name is Turtle. And it's kind of a funny story, but Turtle is actually a rescue that I took in a year ago, I believe, and she is about around, I think, 12 to 13 years old, maybe even a little bit older than that. The past, 12 years or so, she was just kept in a 20-gallon tank without proper lighting, without a proper diet. She didn't even know how to swim properly. So when I first got her, I put her in a slightly bigger tank, and then when she learned how to properly swim and navigate and she got healthier, I moved her into the 125-gallon. And she's just been thriving. She eats wonderfully, and she's really active, and she's healthy. So shout out to Turtle, my about 13-year-old yellow-bellied slider. And next, I'm gonna take you guys into my rabbit room so that you guys can meet my rabbits. Because yes, I have 2 rabbits, and they have their own room pretty much. All right, guys, so we're in the rabbit room, and first we have Desmond, my Flemish giant rabbit. I got Desmond about 5 years ago. He's probably around 5.5 years old now, and yeah, he's just my big bunny. So Desmond is just, an XL bun. He's a really friendly bun. He's like the friendliest bunny I have ever met, and everyone always comments on how friendly he is. Like when I walk in the room, he just runs right up to me and is like begging me to pet him. And then we have my other bunny whose name is Olive, and Olive isn't quite as outgoing as Desmond is. He's currently hiding in this little hide we have here. All right, so here we have Olive. I believe Olive is around 3 years old now. I rescued Olive around 9 months ago, actually, so that Desmond could have a friend because bunnies are very social. So I took Desmond into the rabbit rescue to find a bunny that he would get along with. So yeah, those are my bunnies. I hope you guys enjoyed meeting them, and now we can move on to more animals. So next up, we have one of 2 of my birds. This is Gizmo, my severe macaw, and Gizmo is actually about 27 years old. I've had him my entire life. He actually belonged to my parents who had gotten him before I was even born, but when I moved out of my parents' house, we all kind of collectively decided that I was going to take him because I had more time to spend with him than my parents do. He just pooped on my bed. Thank you so much, Gizmo. He's kind of a grumpy old man, but he's really warmed up to me a ton. If you go back to my first Meet My Pets video, he absolutely hated me. But as you can tell, he's gotten so much more used to me. And he's also just so pretty. You can't really see it super well, but under his wings, he has these really pretty bright red and blue colors that are also on his tail feathers. And he's also due for a beak trim, so if the beak looks a little bit long, that's why I actually have an appointment for him this week. I do get my birds' beaks and nails trimmed regularly as needed. I do not get my birds' wings clipped, so my birds can absolutely fly away if they wanted to. But they usually choose to stay with me. Gizmo never really tries to fly, but my other bird does fly quite a bit, but I'm gonna introduce you guys to my other bird next, so say goodbye to Gizmo. So next up we have Gypsy, my African gray. I rescued Gypsy about 2.5 years ago almost, so that makes her around 6.5 years old. And Gypsy already had her name when I got her, and basically her story is that she had an owner that owned her for the first 4 years of her life, and that owner unfortunately decided to move somewhere else to a different state, and they didn't take her with them, and they just dropped her off at a local bird store. So I ended up rescuing her, and she's just been with me ever since for the past 2.5 years. So yeah, that's Gypsy, my African gray. I'm really glad I found her and I was able to give her a good home, and I promise I won't abandon you like your old owner did. That's the tea. All right, so now that we've got the birds out of the way, we can move on to my reptiles. So I'm gonna start off by showing you guys all of my snakes. Now, I know some people have an irrational fear of snakes, so if you really wanna skip it, I'll include a timestamp down here if you just wanna skip over seeing all of the snakes. If you're feeling brave, then stick around for the snakes because they are really cute. Some of them are really, really beautiful, and I would hate for you guys to miss out on seeing them, but I understand if you want to skip past it. So let's get straight into the snakes, starting now. So the first snake I want to show you guys is Monty, my ball python. Monty is the first snake that I ever got. I got him about 5 years ago now, which makes him around 5.5 years old because I got him when he was really, really small. Ball pythons are really, really docile snakes. They're usually very, very calm. He has never struck at me, never tried to bite me or anyone else. He's really just a lovely little snake. And I love calling them just danger noodles because people think they're dangerous, but they're really just little noodles, honestly. They have like little puppy mouths. I don't know if you can really see it, but I definitely see it. They're just super cute and fun creatures. So when I got Monty, I just absolutely fell in love with keeping snakes, which is why I ended up getting another 8 snakes after him pretty much. Look at his cute little snoot. I love them so much. You're such a good noodle. Yes, you are. All right, so next up we have my other ball python. This is Tesla, and I got Tesla about 10 months ago, so he's probably about a year old at this point. As you can tell, he's significantly smaller than Monty. Monty is a full-grown ball python. Tesla is getting there, but Tesla definitely has a ways to go. The reason I named Tesla is because on his pattern, well, on his sides, you can kind of see these look like T's in a way. They looked a lot more like T's when he was smaller, but it just reminded me of the Tesla logo. As he has grown, it appears that the T's in his pattern have kind of blown out and they no longer look like T's, but that's kind of why I named him Tesla. And Tesla is a VPI lesser axanthic ball python. Ball pythons come in different morphs, so VPI lesser axanthic is Tesla's morph. And what that basically means is that is his pattern and coloration, and ball pythons come in a ton of different morphs. Monty was a normal ball python, and he's also a really good noodle. Tesla has also never struck at me. Tesla is just a really good noodle. So yeah. This is my biggest snake, and this is Athena, and she is a boa constrictor. Not to be confused with red tail boas, because there's BCC and BCI red tail boas. It gets really confusing. Just know that Athena is a common boa and not a true red tail. True red tails have much brighter red tails. I'll try to show you her tail. You can kind of see it still has some red to it, but it's a lot darker than a true red tail. Also, true red tails typically get a bit bigger. But I got Athena about 2 years ago. Boas come in all different morphs as well. Athena, however, is a regular, just common boa. No special morph here. She was about 1.5 years, I believe, when I got her. So she's probably around 3.5 years old at this point. And she is my largest snake so far. I have another snake that's going to outgrow her, and we'll meet him pretty soon. I don't know if you can see how big she is, but she is also a decent sized snake. I want you guys to get a good look at her eyes. They just look absolutely beautiful. Oh, and I don't want to forget to show you her little mustache. That's like my favorite thing about Athena. I never even noticed it until someone pointed it out and they were like, oh my God, Athena has a mustache. And then I looked and I was like, holy crap, you're right. All right, so next up we have Aphrodite. This is my Brazilian rainbow boa. It's kind of hard because she likes to move around a lot, but I'll try to show you guys her face the best I can. So I got Aphrodite about 2 years ago, and they're called rainbow boas because, as you can see, they have like an iridescent sheen to their scales, which is really, really pretty. But they're one of my favorite types of snakes. They're just so pretty. Like, even without the iridescence, their pattern is just amazing. And the fact that they're iridescent on top of that is absolutely incredible to me. And they aren't the only type of snake that has iridescence to them. A lot of snakes actually do, but their iridescence is probably one of the most iridescent out of most snakes. But you'll actually see some of my upcoming snakes are even more iridescent than she is. So next up, I want to show you guys my sunbeam snake, who I'm not going to be taking out right now, but I'll film her when I take her out to clean her tub so I can insert the footage here. Now, the reason for this is sunbeam snakes get really stressed out when they're handled. They really just don't enjoy being handled very frequently. So I try to keep handling her to the minimum. They're like one of the most iridescent snakes I have ever seen, and they just look really, really unique. I love their head shape and their little eyes. Not sure if I mentioned this, but I did get her about 2 years ago, and I'm not sure exactly how old she is. That is Opal, my sunbeam snake. Hope you enjoyed seeing her. Next up, we have Gucci. Gucci is my tri-colored hognose. Their coloration is very similar to that of a milk snake. But the reason you can actually tell that she's a hognose is if you look really closely at her head, it's shaped and it's kind of pointed. And Gucci I got about a year ago, so that probably makes her around 1.5 years. So yeah, that's Gucci. Say goodbye to Gucci. We have Sprinkles. Sprinkles is my palmetto corn snake. She's kind of like a white color, and she has a lot of speckling on her, as I'm trying to show you. She moves around a ton. Corn snakes love to just travel and explore, so they don't sit still like ball pythons do. I got Sprinkles about 9 months ago, which makes her probably around 1 year old. She is not full grown. She's gonna get a bit bigger than this. I just fell in love with Sprinkles because of how unique the, coloration of palmetto corn snakes are. There aren't a ton of snakes that look like this. And also, I love her big bulgy eyes. So the bulgy eyes are kind of like a defect that not all palmetto corn snakes have, or corn snakes in general. It's something that just happens to certain palmetto corn snakes. And breeders tend to want to sell their corn snakes that have bulgy eyes and not breed them because it's not considered a desirable trait. It's a defect. I find her bulgy eyes really endearing and they're really cute. It doesn't affect her quality of life or anything like that. It's just a physical defect that looks kind of silly. I think it's fair to say I think Sprinkles is like my cutest snake. I want to show you guys Egret, my carpet python. I got Egret about 1.5 years ago, or a little over 1.5 years ago, and she was actually rehomed to me by someone who could no longer keep her. Egret has some neurological issues, which is common in certain morphs of snakes. And the jaguar morph in carpet pythons often causes neurological issues. Typically, the effects of a neurological issue don't come out unless the snake gets really excited or is under a lot of stress. But if I just leave her be in her enclosure, she moves around completely fine. You almost couldn't even tell that she has any neurological issues. And I really love her. She's a really beautiful snake. I do everything I can to minimize stress and make sure she's living the best quality of life possible. So last but not least, to conclude all of my snakes, we have Solomon, who is my dwarf reticulated python. I got Solomon about 9 months ago, which I think makes him probably a little bit over 1 year old. So Solomon is going to be my biggest snake. Right now, he's probably my second biggest. He's not huge girth-wise, but he's really, really long, and he's gonna get quite a bit bigger. So reticulated pythons get huge. So this is a dwarf reticulated python, so he is not going to get as big as a normal retic, but I believe he's probably gonna get maybe around 8 to 10 feet long, which is still a very big snake, but it's a lot smaller than a normal retic will usually get. So I'm really excited to see him grow. He is very, very active and loves to explore, as you can see. Retics are known for being one of the smarter snakes you can get. They're actually very, very intelligent. He is quite the long noodle. Where are you trying to go, Solomon? On my head? What are you trying to accomplish? He's found his place where he's content. He's like, this is a good view. So yeah, if you couldn't tell by now why I love snakes, does this answer your question? They're just so fun. Like, your dog can't do this. So honestly, if you don't like snakes, you're just jealous probably. Just saying. Just to take a little break from the reptiles, I wanted to show you guys my hedgehog. So this is Momo. I got Momo about a year and a half ago, or a bit over a year and a half ago. So Momo's probably about 2 years old. Momo's name means peach in Japanese. So Momo's actually really tolerant of handling. When they get angry, they make this hissing sound, which you might have just heard. And she also has poop caked under her nails, which is completely normal because you like to poop on the wheel and then run all over it and get it caked under your nails. She literally just got a bath 2 days ago. And yeah, I love Momo, honestly. She's like really cute and she's just the best. So yeah, that's Momo, my hedgehog. I want to show you guys my tarantulas. Once again, I'm completely aware a lot of people have this irrational fear of tarantulas. So if you would like to skip the tarantulas, I'll provide you with a timestamp that you can skip to so you don't have to see them. However, once again, I would highly recommend sticking around just because tarantulas are, in my opinion, very misunderstood and they're actually really beautiful. They come in all different types of colors and patterns and they're really, really cool creatures and I would hate for you guys to not see them. But if you must, you can skip ahead. But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys my tarantulas. I have 7 of them. I'm gonna show you guys some of my other creepy crawlies because I have a bit more to show. So first of all, I'm gonna show you guys my isopods. I have 5 different types of isopods and they're each in their own colony. Point is, I have a lot of isopods, so let's go check. So next, we're gonna move on to my roaches. So first, I have a colony of dubia roaches. Now, the dubia roaches aren't really my pets. I mostly just have them to feed to my reptiles because I have a lot of insectivore reptiles. I have another type of cockroach because owning one type wasn't enough for me, clearly. So these other cockroaches are called Madagascar hissing cockroaches. And the reason they get their name hissing cockroach is because if you touch them, they'll make a hissing sound. Next up, we're gonna move on to my scorpions. So I have 3 scorpions. All 3 of my scorpions are Asian forest scorpions. So the reason why I have 3 of them, I actually used to have 15, but I downsized and now I only have 3. So the story about that, and I have videos about it on my channel if you'd like to see it, but I had one adult Asian forest scorpion that I purchased and she was gravid. So she ended up pretty much giving birth to, I think it was like 15 baby scorpions. So for a while there, I was taking care of these 15 babies, and after a while, I sold most of them to like a local reptile breeder that wanted to get into breeding. So I gave them all of the babies except for 3 that I wanted to keep for myself, just because I want to take care of them and watch them grow and stuff. But yeah, those are my Asian forest scorpions. Now that we've covered all of my creepy crawly creatures, we can go back to my reptiles. Actually, before we get into the reptiles, I'll show you guys my one amphibian that I own, and that is my frog. So I have a dwarf African bullfrog. His name is Sealing, which is just a really random name that I came up for him. I think I used to think that Sealing was a female, but I soon realized that Sealing is actually a male because I actually heard him croak a few times. He just sits there in his little corner and doesn't really move very much. Sometimes he'll go soak in his water dish, but for the most part, he just hangs out in his corner and sits there and waits for me to feed him. So now finally we can move on to the rest of my reptiles. All right, so next up we have my bearded dragon. His name is Malachi, and Malachi, I don't know how old he is. I've had him for about 2 years. But once again, he was actually rehomed to me by someone who could no longer take care of him. So I'm not sure how old he is. I think he's around 5 or 6 years old, if I had to guess. I actually just gave him a bath yesterday and he pooped on my bathroom floor. Anything else you'd like to add, Malachi? Next up, we have Castor, who is my Indonesian blue-tongued skink. So some notable characteristics you'll probably notice right off the bat is, first of all, obviously, their blue tongues. What you will also notice is that they have really long bodies and really short, kind of stumpy legs. But they have cute little faces, and their bright blue tongues are just so cool. Aw, Castor, look at his little face! So I got Castor a couple years ago. He's probably around 3 years old, if I had to guess. So yeah, that's Castor, the blue-tongued skink. So next up, we have probably one of the prettiest lizards I own. And not only the prettiest that I own, but probably one of the prettiest that I've ever seen. So this is an Abronia graminia, also known as a Mexican alligator lizard. And these guys are just absolutely stunning. And I actually do have a pair. I have a male and a female. Their names are Jupiter and Juno. I believe I got them about 2 years ago. And I got them with the intention of breeding them, but so far I haven't had a ton of luck. I do keep them together during breeding season. Typically, if you don't have breeding in mind, it's recommended to only get one and house them individually because housing most reptiles together isn't recommended. So this is Jupiter and this is my male Abronia. The reason why I didn't get my female out is because my female is really skittish and does not like being handled at all. But my male is really, really good with handling. As you can tell, he's very calm. Just so you guys can get a better look of his scales, he literally looks like a tiny little dragon almost. They're just absolutely incredible. And I also love the yellow around his eyes and just the contrast between under his chin and his bright green, like emerald colored scales. And they also can kind of differ in coloration. Some are a little bit more blue colored, whereas others are more green. So yeah, that is Jupiter, my male Abronia. And once again, I also do have a female whose name is Juno. All right, so next up we have one of my crested geckos. This is my female. Her name is Luna. I'm trying to prepare for her to jump because she's probably gonna try to jump off of me. But she is a partial pinstripe crested gecko, which is her morph. I've had Luna, I believe, for about 2 years. But yeah, they're just really, really cool. And what's also amazing is they are very easy to take care of. So if you're looking for like a beginner reptile, something that isn't going to be super difficult, then crested geckos are always my first recommendation. What you'll also notice is she does not have a tail. Crested geckos are born with tails, but they actually drop their tails if they get scared, and crested geckos don't grow their tails back. So both of my adult crested geckos don't have tails, and they did not have tails when I got them. She's just stuck with a little frog butt, but I honestly like the way they look without tails more. I think it's really cute. Also, a huge shout out to Luna for not jumping off of me. She was a really good sport. We have Lance, who is my male crested gecko. He's a full pinstripe, and the way you can tell with the pinstripe crested geckos is the two like yellow stripes going down their backs. If they're two full stripes that aren't interrupted by any gaps, then it's considered a full pinstripe. But if there's even the tiniest gap in the stripes, then it's just considered a partial pinstripe. So Lance is a full pinstripe crested gecko. You have a little piece of dirt in your nostril. There you go. I just think his pattern and his coloration is absolutely gorgeous, but also just look at his little face. So I do house my crested geckos separately. I don't keep them together, but I did breed my male and my female together, and also I bred my male with Maddie's female. So we do have crested gecko babies. We have 13 babies, I believe. Obviously, I'm not keeping all of the babies. I'm probably going to just sell them. So I don't know if I would consider them my pets necessarily, but I am taking care of all of them. I'm not going to show you all of the babies because they kind of just look the same, honestly, but I'll just show a couple of them. All right, guys, so we have finally made it. If you made it this far into the video, congratulations. I'm so thankful for you. But yeah, those are all my animals. I hope you guys enjoyed meeting them all. And if you guys want to see more updates or want to see like their enclosures or where I keep them all, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm planning on doing like a reptile room tour pretty soon, and I also want to do like an enclosure tour where I kind of show all of their enclosures and where they live. I just didn't want to do all of that in this video because I wanted to try to keep this video as short as it can possibly be, because I knew even just me showing you the animals individually was going to take forever. But again, if you want to see more of them, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you get notified every time I upload. You can also keep up with me on Twitter and Instagram, which will be linked down in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video.